I'm going to share with you a brain hack on how to stop all the mental chatter about food. And this is also a big component in order to also stop binge eating. All right, first you need to know something about your brain. Your brain will hyper focus in on whatever the thing is that you're trying not to eat. For example, if I say, don't eat a cookie, all your brain will think about is eating the cookie. It won't think about all the thousands and thousands of other things it could eat that aren't a cookie. No, it will focus in on the cookie. So when you're thinking about all the foods you can't eat or all the foods that you're restricting, as soon as you go on a diet, that gets the attention of your lower survival obsessed brain to think about the thing that you're not eating. So when it comes to actually being able to be in control with food consistently and genuinely, one of the first things you need to understand is food allowance. I know this is a scary word, especially if you've had years and years of dieting, years where you're restricting foods, whether in the form of, points or calories or whole food groups. What happens is that then, whether it happens quickly or over a period of time, sooner or later, you get into restriction. And wherever you restrict, that's where your brain will focus, because our brain is constantly scanning for problems. And if you restrict something so basic for our survival, such as food, even if you're well fed, your brain will focus in on the thing that it's not supposed to eat or that's bad to eat, because that's how our brain is wired. So instead, I teach women in my program, and I've helped hundreds and hundreds of women stop dieting, find a place of ease and peace with food and with their bodies, and even release weight, not being on a diet. That's what I do. I help women stop struggling with dieting, stop struggling with food in their body, and find a place of ease where they're able to release weight if they'd like to. So what you do with food allowance is, this is what food allowance is. Or rather, this is what food allowance is not. Food allowance is not eating everything. Food allowance is not overeating. What food allowance is knowing that any food is available at any point in time. The trick here is, now listen to this, what do I actually want? How do I actually want to feel? When you direct your brain to answer a question that's productive, not don't eat the cookie, don't eat the cookie, don't eat the cookie, but instead, what do I want to eat so that I get to feel the way that I want to feel? What will be something that'll be enjoyable and also allow me to feel the way I want to feel in my body? When you give your brain a good question, knowing that all food is allowed, there's no food you can eat that morally can make you good or bad. There's no moral implication to food as opposed to making you good or bad. Have you ever said, oh, I've had a good day today, or I had a bad day today, and it's all based upon what you ate or didn't eat? This is a clue that you've been in diet mentality for too long. And it's accepted as the norm in our culture, but it's not normal just because it's been normalized. This is not the way we want to interact with food in order to have peace and harmony around food. In order to have peace and harmony around food, we want to focus in on abundance, on allowance. Everything's allowed. The question here is, what do I actually want? What do I actually want to experience? And also so I get to feel the way I want to feel. When you've been in dieting mode for so long, you'll think that if I allow food, then I'll eat everything because I always want to eat everything. These types of thoughts are actually thoughts that are created from restriction and from being in diet mode. A normal eater knows that they can eat anything they want, but they're not worried about the food that they can or can't eat. All food's allowed. The question is, what do they actually want? And when you focus in on this, then your brain chatter settles down and you're actually able to create allowance with food. Everything's allowed, but do I actually want it? Women that I've worked with report that within a short period of time, their mental thoughts and urges around food settle down, because we approach this from a place of abundance and from a place of what do I want? And when you come at it from this angle, life gets a whole lot easier in regards to your relationship with food. Give it a try.